Good morning. It is Monday, January 13th, 2019, and here comes the Monday News Brief. Welcome again to another edition of the Monday News Brief brought to you by CDTTV, a part of the Central Dakota Times. I'm your host, Nate Iverson, and in this week's episode, we're joined by Chamberlain Mayor Chad Mutziger. Chad's going to be discussing the 2019 year, mostly the fall and some of the projects that they'd completed, things that are still in progress, and some policies that are being reviewed. We're then going to look to the new year in 2020 and preview the first 2 months of the year to see what you can expect in the near future, as well as look ahead to some of the larger goals the city has in mind. Also, if you enjoy this content and want to see some of the other things we post online, we invite you to join our YouTube channel by clicking the subscribe button on our YouTube, Central Dakota Times newspaper. We're also available on social media via Facebook by searching Central Dakota Times, and we have our own website, www.centraldakotimes.org. And as always, be sure to pick up your very own copy of the Central Dakota Times every Wednesday mornings wherever newspapers are sold in Central South Dakota. Let's get to it. Thanks again for taking some time out of your day.
Absolutely.
It's been a couple months. So
been a couple.
Figured it's time to go through, the old update and get your thoughts on some of the stuff that's happened in the fall. You made it.
We made it. We survived. As you said, it's winter here in Chamberlain, and it sometimes means slow down, but other times it means busy work too.
Right.
So.
It ain't so bad to slow down after a fall like we had, though. So
it's been one we don't want to have again soon.
Right? Knock on wood. So let's just start with some of the more recent things that have happened,
Sure.
like in December and November,
Sure.
and then kind of work back to some things we might have missed or haven't talked about in a
Yep.
while, and then we'll kind of look forward from there.
Okay.
So first thing, new street department hire.
Yeah.
What was the reason for that? Who do we have?
We have a new street department hire. Jerry Kistler retired.
Okay.
After many years with the street department. So we wish Jerry best of luck in retirement. We're fortunate Jerry's going to stay on part-time with us at street department for the time being to help us get through the winter months and do some other projects. As you know, Jerry's also been instrumental in doing the decorations on Main Street and stuff, and so we're hoping maybe we can squeeze one more out of him before he rides off into the sunset for good. But we hired Jeff Preep as our new street worker.
Oh, okay.
Kevin Olson has been promoted to street superintendent, and Kevin will do a fantastic job. Worked underneath Jerry for a good number of years, and if anybody knows Kevin is a hard worker, and he'll do a fantastic job. So we're excited. Jeff starts, I believe, today.
Oh, really?
It'll be his first day. So he got in a little bit of that snow plowing. He rode along with a couple of the guys during the snow plowing. But we're excited for that. Jeff will be willing to jump right in with both feet and start working. So
Cool.
Yep.
And keep Jerry around for a few more snowstorms. Never hurts to have an extra body in those.
That's true.
So, okay, cool. Let's go ahead then in some projects.
Sure.
So Kellerland reported this, and it hasn't been talked about much yet. But runway upgrades to the airport?
Yeah. Well, we're excited about this. This has been, it's exciting now, but this has truly been something that's been worked on for 12 to 15 years.
Oh, really?
It's been a long process.
Okay.
And it's just been a continual trying to jump through hoops, and they put a hurdle in front of you and we jump over that one. They put another one and we jump over that one.
Right.
And so finally we got the approval, which Kellerland picked up on, and we're excited about it. Does it mean we're going to start seeing action right tomorrow? No.
Right.
Over the next probably 5 years, this is going to be done. There's some land acquisition that needs to be done. We need to build a new runway. So we're taking our current runway from 4,300 to 5,500.
Okay.
And so what that's going to do is going to allow for larger jets to come in and out. Also, tremendous asset for the air ambulance that comes in and out for Sanford.
Oh, for sure.
Their planes are getting bigger, and we need the larger runway. So we're excited about it. It also is going to mean some other new amenities out at the airport. Like I said, Greg Powell has put the last 12 to 15 years of his life into this project. So kudos to him. Kudos to SEH, who is our engineering firm that helped us with this. We finally jumped every hoop and hurdle that we could. It's about a $7.5 million project.
All right.
The nice thing about that is between the federal, state, and the city, we only have to pay 5% of that $7.5 million is our portion.
That's a
of
sweet
that.
deal.
So we get a new runway and other upgrades. And why are we pushing so hard for it, Nate? Is simply this: during the hunting season, we have way too many planes that are landing in Sioux Falls and Mitchell right now that would prefer to land here. And if we can stop them from landing in Mitchell and Sioux Falls, we have a chance of getting them, instead of stopping at Cabela's or Shields, to shop at our local stores to buy their needs. Plus, it also helps our hunting lodges so they don't have to travel all the way to Sioux Falls and Mitchell constantly. But it also, as I said, the air ambulance. And then there's also a good number of pilots that land here. That we have a nice aviation club that flies in and out of the Chamberlain Airport. So there's a lot of benefits that will benefit the city and the community and the county.
So you did mention the engineering firm, and they are based out of Minnesota, correct?
No.
Oh, really?
We work with the SAH out of Sioux Falls.
Okay.
They have a local regional office out of Sioux Falls. They are also a regional engineering firm out of Minneapolis, Nebraska. They have several offices all over the upper Midwest. But we work with the SEH out of Sioux Falls. Now, there are times where they have to bring in their expertise out of the Minneapolis or the Nebraska branch. But they have an office located in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. So.
Okay. Yeah, and I guess really the question around that was, with the whole meth campaign and all the blowback from that, if Chamberlain really received any of that. But I'm guessing because you're technically doing business with Sioux Falls, it's a little bit different.
Yeah, and we bid out the engineering on the airport every 5 years. We open it up to anybody who wants to bid it. And every 5 years we get about 3 applicants that apply, and SEH is one, and there's a couple others that apply. And SEH has always done great work with us. As I said, they got us to where we are, where we're going to get an extended runway and a better airport. But yeah, our contacts are out of Sioux Falls, and they have a good number of engineers that work out of the Sioux Falls office. When they need somebody out of the Minneapolis or the Nebraska office, they bring them in and use them there. So
Well, with airport safety, you got to have the best too. So
that's true.
Awesome. This one is exciting for me because obviously, you're a golfer too. We didn't get to do much.
Neither of us are good golfers, Nate.
Right. No, that's fine. We're golfers. We're not golfers.
Yes.
Not good golfers, but we're golfers.
That's right.
Let's see. Just the golf course project. A lot of the things that were proposed and talked about last spring or late winter didn't really happen until later in the year. And I don't think we really touched on this before. I think we touched about the recovery project, but there were actual updates and upgrades being made. Do you know anything about where those?
I can't speak to all of them. What I can speak to is a couple things. First off, to the people, Sean Powers, Carol Powers, the golf course board, and everybody who put efforts into the golf course. God bless them for the work they did over there. So with that being said, there are a lot of upgrades that are being done, have been done. They took a bunch of trees out. They're adding a new 8 green, moving the fairways, and doing a bunch of other things that I think will really make that golf course a much more enjoyable golf course to play. What they've also done is they made it a part where if you want to just play a quick par 3 course, you can do that. They changed some other things in there, so it made some a little more challenging. Just what you and I don't need is more challenging.
But we don't need another draw to lose things in.
Absolutely. But we're excited about this. We got the bridge that was washed away last spring. We got that replaced. So that is replaced and ready to go when golf season opens this coming spring. We also have a bridge that's sitting in the parking lot of the golf course right now.
Okay.
That hasn't been placed yet. That's going to go over the creek to the new number 8 green. So it's ready, just needs to be placed in the spring. So we're excited about that. So our hope is that we have a full golf season. We have just enough rain to make everything green all the time. And we just need a good summer of letting the golf course kind of grow and all the work they did. I think it's going to be, if you haven't been to the golf course in a while, you're going to want to get there this summer because of the work they did is going to be exciting out there. It's going to make it totally different than if you've golfed it for the last 20 years. The work they did is going to be fun.
And they have great Bloody Marys.
And great Bloody Marys, once again, you are correct.
So, okay, and kind of more of a more serious one, power outages. Have been something that's been written about quite a bit so far. Obviously, the city is frustrated. Can you maybe highlight what the power outage is, kind of where that began, and maybe talk about the status of it now and some solutions that are being discussed?
Sure. Over the summer, we had some issues with power outages in the community, throughout the community. Some were widespread, took out the whole community. Some were more isolated to certain areas of the community. It's just very frustrating and it's difficult. And we understand that power outages are very difficult, and we're not saying that The power company is not doing everything they can to address those. Our issue is the length of time that these power outages are happening and how often they're happening. A few years back, they made the decision to scale back their workforce in Chamberlain or in this area to one individial.
Oh, okay.
One service technician in our area, where at one time we probably had 4 to 6 gentlemen, linemen who were based out of Chamberlain. So the response time is really what it was.
Right.
If we have an outage and if we had people here that could respond to it in a timely manner, maybe it'd only be an hour outage. But if they had to send the people from Mitchell here, now you're extending that outage another hour and a half to 2 hours. So that's been our frustration. We addressed that with, aired our grievances with Northwestern. We haven't had a meeting with them yet. We were supposed to do some quarterly meetings. They haven't established those yet. We're going to continue to work and hopefully get those established. What's the hope in the long run is that we can find a way that they will centrally locate more individuals. So it serves not just Chamberlain, but also Kimball, Puck, or Platte. If there's outages, we have people more located in this side of their service area. It's not a secret that Chamberlain is the end of their run. We're the furthest west they go.
Yep.
That also means that Kimball's not too far from being the end, and Plank or Platte is also out there. But it's just our hope to bring some attention to the fact that we see what's happening, and we're fighting for our communities, and that's really what it is. We're fighting for us. So
sure. Is that, and maybe you know the answer, maybe you don't, is that more of an infrastructure thing that they're saying is causing the outages, or is it more weather related?
You know, I don't know. It's tough with anything, and it's hard to control an outage because your plant could be running 100% efficient, and then all of a sudden something happens.
Right.
And with power, it could be a squirrel that caused an outage. So it's hard for them, and we understand that. It's just we just hope that they can. We'd like to see them better control the length of the time that the outages happen.
Sure.
What we also feel is that it's difficult on our downtown businesses.
Right.
You know, with the coolers going on and off, and also losing revenue when an outage happens. Nothing's probably worse than having somebody who just pumped 200 gallons worth of gas in their tank of their RV, and then all of a sudden they have a power outage and they can't pay for that gas because it's out.
Right.
Or hey, it's about noon and McDonald's and the Anchor and the Smoky Mule and all these places are getting ready to serve their lunch crowd, and then the power goes out.
Yep.
So those type of things are what we're frustrating. So.
Oh, okay, sure. So I know you mentioned that the meetings haven't happened yet, but have there been any solutions so far?
Not yet. I mean, we're hoping that. Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
I don't know what Northwestern is. You know, I mean, that's hopefully what we'll learn from these meetings is what, if there's any changes that are being proposed or what. But I'm hoping soon here that we'll have our first meeting and get some more insight. But with that being said, we're not saying that Northwestern isn't a good company. They've been very good for us to work with. You know, I mean, they've been great community partners in many aspects. It's just. It's just a level of frustration that finally bubbled up.
Right. So, got to work out some kinks.
Absolutely.
So, right on. All right. Well, looking forward to the next few months, you know, starting mid-January to February, what are some things that the city's addressing in the short term coming up that people can start expecting to read about and see happen?
We're hoping to go to bid here in January for the road through the pre-bland up there by the hospital.
Okay.
That we purchased.
Yep.
The goal is take the road where it ends by the hospital and tie that into the where it comes out between American and Ace Hardware.
Oh,
so
sure.
Carry that road, so there's another access in and out of the high school, the hospital area.
Right.
So we're hoping to go to bid in January on that.
Okay.
Just so we can start construction right in the spring, building that road, placing the water, sewer, and all that, and building the road. I just, as more and more development happens up on that hill, and with the high school and the hospital and everything that's up there, we need to find another way in and out of that area.
Right.
So this is kind of top priority. So we're looking forward to getting that bid out, hopefully seeing some construction in the spring. Other things going on, as you know, gosh, we never know when the next snowfall is going to be. So for the employees and the workforce at the city, everything kind of circles around when there's the next snow coming, because it's, you know, a snowfall is it might only snow for one day, but it might mean a week long's worth of work for the workers to get all the snow moved and all that. So we live with that. City-wise, also, Ron Lemie has got a ton of things going on down at the community center. Ron does a fantastic job. I think the boys basketball is going on right now.
Yep, I think that just started.
I think I got an email that first and second grade starts today for basketball. So I'm gonna assume there's gonna be a lot of noise and excited little boys down there today. So that's always fun. And then he does the Nerf wars and stuff like that.
Creative stuff.
The winter's time is hopefully if we can avoid a lot of snow, it can be a good time for the city to catch up on a lot of projects that need to get done or equipment that needs to be repaired before the spring comes.
And finally, we just talked about January, February, the short term. 2020 in the long term, what are some of the bigger projects that, obviously you said road construction.
The road, we're also, the road up and down, the highway up and down the hill. The state DOT is going to start construction on that here in the near future too.
Okay.
They're going to take the road out, replace it, hopefully stabilize it. So I don't know if that's due for this summer or next summer, but I'm sure you're going to start seeing some construction, and some prep work for that. So that's going to be. If you remember, about 15 years ago, I think it was when they did the construction on that road last time. It's an inconvenience. It's a difficulty for everybody who is downtown and needs to get up on the hill, which during the school season means a whole lot of people. They have to go around on the interstate and come up that way. So for those people on the hill, when they're vice versa. So I don't know what exactly the DOT is going to do and how they're going to move the traffic. We're hoping that. We've been working with them to make sure that there's always an access up and down that hill somehow, but it's not our project. We can't control it. We can only put input in. So that's going to be big. That's going to be a difficult time, but hopefully with patience and calmer heads, everybody will get through it. But like any construction, it's frustrating.
Right.
We have a lot of recovery projects, I would say, still from last year's flooding that we have to button up.
Right.
And we're hoping that this spring is much more gentle on us than last spring.
Sure.
But there's a lot of work to recover still, I'd say, from that, whether it be at the golf course, whether it be at the parks or whatever throughout town. There's just a lot of work. And then, roads are always a thing too. There's always a pothole that needs somewhere to be fixed. Yeah, it never ends. So we don't ever lack things to do here. And I would say that I would be nervous about everything except for the fact that we have great employees at the city. And every year they blow it out of the water and just do a fantastic job of getting everything fixed that needs to be fixed and preparing us for the next season to come. So right on.
Well, Mayor Mutziger, that is all the questions I have for you. Do you have anything else that I missed?
I don't. I just wish everybody a happy new year. And hopefully they can get out and enjoy the community, and it doesn't get too cold, so they can see, get out and eat, go out and shop, go out and see people, and stuff like that, and support the local businesses that support so many of the youth programs and activities that happen in our community. Hopefully they can get out and support those businesses too. So
right on. Well, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Nate.
We'll see you maybe in a month or two.
There you go.
Thanks again for stopping by and joining us for another edition of the Monday News Brief brought to you by CDTTV, a part of the Central Dakota Times. I'm your host, Nate Iverson, and until next week, have a good one.